Peace to the incarnated beings finding purpose in this reality, and who's found purpose in this reality. Right before I started this video, I'm driving down a back road, and about 10-15 feet in the sky, I see a hawk, right? And you know, Heru was symbolized as the hawk, and the hawk was flying low, and it was just coasting, and you could just see his wings just spread out and just coasting, and it was just inspiring, you know. And it was like he was leading me for a while. It was like he was leading the car, because he was coasting and flying so low, and he was about 10-15 feet, you know, right in front of the car. And I said, man, that's pretty cool. But what I want to talk about today is that what I've noticed, no, before I go there, is essentially all philosophies that I've came across and almost maybe in existence, is that I have traced them back to their source, to their origins. And when you trace things back to its origins, then you understand the function of it. You get a holistic understanding on what it truly is. This is why etymology is important, because when you understand the origins of words, then you understand what it truly is, and it's an inception. You dig? So, you know, what I've came to understand is that it seems like all power sources has been pushed on people as evil. You know, I always hear about this is evil, that is evil. Anything that pertains to anything outside of modern religions is termed as evil. It's even inside the Bible itself, for certain things to be looked at as evil. The ancient Egyptians is evil. Mizraim. The Babylonians is evil. You know what I mean? Which ties into Sumeria, which was, those two nations was the great nations of the ancient world. And the way they seen the Creator has been taken and changed by those who have power to do so. And after those that have power to do so has taken this ancient mythology and molded it to their liking, decided to term anything outside of its new found religion as evil. So, you know, I need everybody to understand that anytime you're dealing with any type of spirituality that's outside of modern religion, it automatically gets an evil connotation to it. Okay, this is the origin of, you know, this is the origin of these things becoming evil. So, you know, and this is my beef that I have with David Icke. You know, I was liking some stuff I was hearing about David Icke. He was speaking about some things that's interesting. I grabbed one of his books, and I'm reading through his book, and lo and behold, he's right there blasting the ancient Egyptians as evil. Now, why is this a problem, right? So now when I look at David Icke, I don't see him the way everybody else sees him. You know, it's like once you catch somebody in a lie, and I'm not saying that he's lying, I'm just using this as an example. I'm not saying that he's lying. He has the right to believe, you know, whatever he wants. But anytime you catch somebody in a lie, you're going to have a problem ever trusting or believing anything that they say again, because you already caught them in a lie. So after I seen that he presented or made a disclaimer that ancient Egyptians are evil, I immediately had a problem with that, because now I know that you are, even with everything that you are saying, you are still following the agenda. What is the agenda? The agenda is to make the ancient world look evil. So let's get deep into this. When you look at nature itself is evil. I was watching the Nature Channel, and I seen a group of lions tear apart another animal. Alive. The animal was alive, getting ripped to shreds. They was biting at his private, just tearing him to shreds. These lions, they didn't look like they was angels. You know what I mean? Like their goal was to get blood, you know, was to get lunch. It was to eat another animal. And that's evil. Why is it evil? Because the other animal is dying and being ripped to shreds. Like, I'm pretty sure that doesn't feel good to have 4 or 5 lions tearing you apart from different angles while you are still alive. So that's evil, but that's a part of nature. You see? So I came to the conclusion that evil is only done by men, humans. Only humans does evil. Outside of the human world, or, you know, or the thought form of human beings, what is evil? What is evil outside of human nature? Is nature evil? Are lions evil? Are tigers evil? Are baboons evil? Are crocodiles evil? Or are they just living out their nature? See, because my research and my studies revealed to me that the only way for a human being to rise above the animal nature is through his mind, his brain. Because the human mind is built more advanced than other animals. So what's going to separate yourself from animals is your intelligence, your mind, your brain. So, animals are intelligent, and but animals have more instinct than the rational mind of the human being. And this what Swallow de Lupis talked about a lot, and this is why I like his works, because he gets in and goes back to what essentially was taught in the ancient Gnostic tradition, which is Gnosis. Because he said that when ancient Egypt fell and foreigners came in, especially the Greeks, the thought forms switched, and it went to a more rational and analytical type of mode of thinking. But prior to that, it was a knowing. These symbols, which we call hieroglyphics or Medu Neter, they sparked something that was known. And it wasn't analytical. You wasn't using the rational mind. So now you have what essentially came from instinct and nature and universal principles to people saying that they are outside of nature. You see? They are outside of nature, and that ultimately they can control the forces of nature. And maybe so, but I don't really think so. I believe that the forces of nature is stronger than the human will. And I believe that the forces of nature can control the human will. But I believe through a great understanding of the forces of nature, the human will not be subject to, for lack of better words, misfortunes or less fortunate outcomes because of the greater understanding of the way that nature works. So why is this important? Because the science, the natural science, the original science of nature has been termed evil. Why? Because somebody found themselves outside of nature, not in or a part of it. So anything that has anything to do with nature or the natural science is evil. So when you're talking about, and this is just my thoughts and my take and my belief, everybody have their own right and understanding of the way they see the material realm and the spiritual realm. Now, I do believe that it's evil forces. But if it wasn't a such thing as evil, then nothing will exist, because we live in a world of duality. If we didn't live in a world of duality, then only one thing will exist. It would just be one thing here. So without the duality, there will be no world. There will be no us. this wouldn't exist. There would be no experience. So evil is necessary for the righteousness, and righteousness is necessary for the evil. But it's all about what you see evil as and what side do you choose to be on. Because all indigenous spiritual systems has been looked at as evil, but since time immemorial, these spiritual systems has been power sources for the indigenous culture. And what happens when the indigenous culture gets cut off from its power source? It becomes weak. So, a power source is a power source. It's only evil depending on how you choose to use it. We all use and love electricity. But electricity will tear your ass up. There's a such thing called an electric chair. So it's all about how this power source is used. And evil, good and evil, and good and bad, only exist in the human realm, in the human mind. See, it's hard for us to grasp that concept because we are humans and we live in a human world. And most of us don't even study nature, don't study outside world. So if you're talking about spirituality, because true spirituality is dealing with spirits. And spirits, when you're dealing with spirituality and you're dealing with spirits, you're dealing with the spiritual realm. Now, when you're dealing with the spiritual realm, then essentially you are dealing with something, a power source or energy or frequency that essentially may not be native to this reality. All right. Now, if something is not human, even if it's a power source or even it's a spirit or some type of energetic frequency or intelligence that's not native to this world, if it's not human, can it be put in the subject or the category of good and evil? Because the concept of good and evil only exists in the human mind. So this is where, as I said before, when I was reading David Icke, and he called the ancient Egyptians evil. Now, I just explained to you, ancient Egyptians studied nature. And they deified nature. And they seen these power sources that existed in nature, the natural science. And I seen how David Icke made everything evil. Everything was evil. Everything was bad. Now, modern religions, right? Modern religions, okay, most of us who's supposed to be woke or supposed to be conscious, have a good understanding on how these things came about. If you watch my channel, you have some type of understanding on how these things come about. Now, when you're dealing with the ancient world, everything wasn't peaches and cream. Yes, you had evil, and yes, you had good. But what's important about the ancient world to me is that when you're dealing with the ancient world, this is a time when indigenous cultures, Africans, melanated people, They governed themselves. They believed in a system that created from the inception of themselves on this planet. You see? So that's why it's important, and that's why I don't take to the calling of it evil very kindly. When more people have died over the modern religions than anything else on this planet. So if anything was to be called evil, it should be that. And so it really makes me wonder how people still fall under this philosophy when they are supposed to be woke or conscious. Now, I'm not saying that it's not evil entities that exist here or out there. I know that it does, because this is where evil stems from. Everything comes from the spiritual realm. But people got to understand, when you dealing with outside forces or the spiritual realm being evil, you got to understand the origins of it. And it all comes from the Bible. It all comes from the new religion, cutting the indigenous cultures from their power source. So to really understand a lot of this, you have to know something about the book of Enoch. Now, what's important to me about the book of Enoch? Well, the book of Enoch states that there was beings that came here, they did this, they did that, and that they was evil. But to my understanding, to really understand to what the book of Enoch is really talking about, you really have to know something about the Dogon culture. And the Dogon, who existed way before the book of Enoch, way before the inception of Judaism, Christianity, or Islam, right? They claim that it was beings from another place who essentially came and brought them knowledge of this, knowledge of that, agriculture and all these things. And I really seen how it was very similar to what they was saying in the book of Enoch. But what did they do? What did they do? They switched and made it evil. Made them evil. Made them bad. So they always take the power source and makes them evil and creates them as evil beings. But where else do the philosophy of good and evil exist outside of the human mind? Who's running down on tigers, gorillas, crocodiles? Who's running down on them and calling them bad and evil? Who's doing that? No, they have a specific function and a specific nature. So when you're dealing with spirituality and when you're dealing with these forces of nature, you're dealing with specific functions. You dig what I'm saying? So I think I really made myself clear at this particular point. So truly, evil only exists in the human world because our mind has the ability to rise above an animal nature. Because outside of the animal nature, well, inside of the animal nature, you're dealing with instinct, an actual function. You know, these animals, they just have a function. You know, they just have instinct. They are what they are. And the human beings they can go outside of that a lot further. Now, don't get me misconstrued. There is evil, you know, or things that we are perceived as evil from our point of view or from our standpoint, like, you know, just hideous or unrighteousness and grossness and hideous acts on humanity and children and things like that. Of course, that's perceived as evil to us because we have an attachment and a love for ourselves and other human nature. Well, at least most of us, because a lot of us don't, to be totally honest with you. A lot of us don't. And there's people, different parts of the world, they'd kill anybody. If they don't believe in what they believe in, they believe they deserve to die. If they don't look how they look, they believe they deserve to die. If they don't think how they think, they believe they deserve to die. This is, you know, this is the world that we live in. So if you can really see that majority of humanity, no matter how believed and how intelligent they believe that they are, they haven't risen above the animal brain or the animal mind. You see? So to really understand this, it really takes a lot of study, and it just maybe just a special person, you know, maybe only so many people is really gonna come to this understanding. But a key fact to hone in on is functions of nature. You see, functions of nature. When you're dealing with spirituality, keep in mind functions of nature, because that's important to really understanding and understand what good and evil really is. Because what's good for me is not good for you. So they say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So can evil be in the eye of the beholder? All right? And, you know, when you really get into this, it's really about energy, frequency, power, and function. Peace.